lads, it's the Bisson and Fly here. Hope you're well. Absolutely gorgeous autumnal day here in Blighty. So what better thing to do than jump on somebody else's motorbike and go for a test ride. So today we're looking at the Triumph Scrambler. So stick around, stay tuned, and I'll tell you what I think of her. Well, my first impressions are that the bike is very, very smooth. I've ridden a Bonneville before. You may have seen the review I did of the standard Bonnie, and I expected this to be quite a lumpy old machine. But actually, it's really quite smooth. There's no lumpiness about it at all. It sounds absolutely superb. So a couple of other things that strike me immediately as I ride the Scrambler is, first of all, the seating position. Very, very upright. Feels very comfortable actually. I really like the seating position. Took a sort of 5 or 10 minutes to get used to it, because it's a little bit more upright than I expected, but it feels sort of a cross somewhere between my GS and between my Honda CRF. So it really is a nice, comfortable, upright bike. If that's the sort of thing you're after, then it feels like you could ride this for ages. And then the other thing is, it sounds absolutely fantastic, but the noise out the back isn't obtrusive. This one's got the Arrow can, so it's particularly loud. And I have got earplugs in, but it's just a nice sort of thrumming that I'm hearing. It's not that so loud that it's going to drive you mad. So very first impressions are extremely favourable. I'm finding the clutch a little bit difficult to get used to. It's quite snatchy compared to what I'm used to, and at slow speed the bike is a little bit jerky. That's probably just down to me not being used to it rather than any problem with the bike itself. And the other thing that I noticed is, like the Bonneville, the standard Bonneville that I rode a couple of years ago, the brakes aren't very good. The front brake in particular needs quite a pull to have an effect. I don't know if it's because I'm just used to very good brakes, or whether these are poor, but the front brake's not as good as I'm used to. But oddly, back brake is very good. The back brake pulls you up almost as quickly as the front does, so which is most unusual for a motorcycle, of course. What an absolutely glorious day to be out in the British countryside on a British motorcycle. What more could you want? Okay, I think what I should do is pull up somewhere and find somewhere to give you a look around this splendid machine. See you down there. Ha ha ha! Splendid. Wait for it, thank you. Gearbox is lovely and smooth, much nicer than I remember on the standard. Where's she going? Goodness me. On the standard Bonneville. Gearbox is lovely. Doesn't feel too heavy. The bike is quite heavy. It's about 230 kilograms, which is quite weighty as they go. Listen to that bouncing off the wall below it. But once she's moving, the weight is just not a factor. Right, let's find somewhere to stop and have a look at this machine. So here she is then. This is a 2015 Triumph Scrambler. Lovely machine. It's badged as a 900cc piece of kit, but it's actually got the standard engine out of the Bonneville, which I think is 865cc. Crucially with this though, of course, is what they've done with the Scrambler, is they've made the crank angle different, in that it's got a 270-degree crank angle, which you don't need to worry too much about, except to say that's what gives it its really fruity note compared to the other bikes in the Bonneville range. So instead of the pistons going up and down in sync, they're slightly out of sync, and that gives it the sort of characteristic crackle that you heard, hopefully, just now. Makes it sound more like a V-twin, which really is the appeal of this particular machine in the range compared to the other Bonnevilles. It's not a particularly high power machine. It's I think around about 40 horsepower, so not particularly powerful. It'll do about 125 miles an hour top whack. Torque wise it's quite nice low down. I think we're looking at around about 60-65 newton meters of torque, so low down it's got plenty of grunt, so round about town nice, and feels nice at low to medium speeds. But this is certainly not a speed machine. It's the sort of machine that you get to sort of cruise around and pose, and that's what I like about it. So this particular machine has got a few mods. The brown seat isn't standard, and as I mentioned before, this one's got the Arrow exhaust as well, which gives it the particularly nice note. So I think I should just start her up so we can hear that. One of the things I'm not so keen about on the bike is it has this sort of retro place for the ignition lock, which is just there. But there we go. I suppose it's sort of funky. Like all Triumphs, you have to pull the clutch in to start. And there we go. Lovely note, and it looks like this one actually has still got the baffle in, so it would go louder still with that out. Although whether that's strictly necessary, I don't know. What am I talking about? Of course it's necessary. The other differences between this and some of the other Bonneville range is, of course, it's got the knobbly tyres to give it more of that scrambler look. The handlebars are a bit more upright. You've got this protector on the headlight, again to give it more of a sort of an off-roady feel, although that's more cosmetic than anything. And the little short mud guards as well. So I think it looks really nice. I think it's the best looking of the Bonneville bunch. I like the Thruxton as well, but this for me has something about it that I really like. Right, let's go ride her some more. So one of the things I quite like about her is it does have this very nice, again it's very retro, instrument layout, just the two dials there, your rev counter and your speed. Then you've got various trip counters and so on, everything you need. What it is lacking, which is a down point, is a petrol gauge. So you've got the light that comes on, of course, but I actually like a proper gauge, but there we go. As I mentioned before, she's quite a heavy bike at the 230 kilogram mark, but you really don't notice that. It doesn't feel like a heavy bike when I'm on her. And also the seat height is a little taller than the other Bonnevilles. I think it's up at 830 millimetres. So if you're a shorter rider, you might want to check that. I would class myself as a shorter rider, and I have to say I don't find it tall at all. But that might be because I'm used to quite tall bikes. My fellow rider. Just got a problem. I'll check if it's there when I come back. So I don't find it at all a problem compared to my GS or my Honda. Then it feels very low to me. I can get my feet flat on the ground, no problem at all. Seat's very comfortable. As I said, love the riding position. Suspension's quite basic on it. Feels fine when you're riding along like this. But I have noticed on some of the cornering, it gets a little bit out of shape quite easily. As I said, it's not a bike you're going to want to be absolutely herring around on. But on a summer's day or a beautiful autumn day like today, buzzing around country lanes, absolutely perfect machine. It's a really nice machine for just cruising along at these sort of sensible speeds. The knobbly tyres don't feel knobbly at all. It's quite a damp old slippery day and they feel quite confidence inspiring. I'm not slipping and sliding around, despite the fact that the bike's very pure and simple. There are no electronics on it. There's no traction control or riding modes or anything like that. I'm not actually sure if this one's got ABS or not. I suspect not, but I'll check that. Got a really civilised riding experience. The mirrors work a treat. Look a bit odd. They're a bit upright and a bit in your face, so it may well benefit from some aftermarket mirrors, some bar end mirrors or whatever. But that's one of those little changes you can do and make the bike your own. Similarly, the lights, the indicators and the rear light are all a bit mad for me. I'd like to change those, I think, if I had one of these. So one of the appeals for me about the Scrambler in particular, but the Bonneville range as a whole, is that they are very eminently customisable. There's an awful lot of aftermarket suppliers out there, and if you buy one and you want to make the bike your own, it's very, very easy to do so. All sorts of exhaust, seats, tail tidies, farkles, you name it, you can buy it and make the bike exactly as you want. So it's a sort of bike that not considering buying just yet, mainly for financial reasons, but what I'd like to do is maybe get something like this as a bit of an ongoing project, something I can sort of play with through the winter months and then just enjoy in the summer riding around the lanes. Maybe not for longer trips, although it feels perfectly comfortable. The riding position is lovely. I could ride this all day long. But it's the sort of bike that you know, you buy with your heart rather than your head. The sort of bike that you can enjoy the ownership experience, clean her up, look at it in the garage, and feel pleased that you own it. Having said all that, if you're only going to have one motorcycle, then I think it would make a fantastic commuter. The turning circle seems very good, comfortable, nice and steady as she goes as far as getting your feet on the deck. So I think filtering and so on would be absolutely fine on it. And that engine, don't forget that's with the baffle in, superb. Even though there's not an abundance of horsepower, overtakes like that are absolutely no issue at all. It really doesn't feel underpowered in any way, although you know the figures I gave you earlier sound like it's not got a lot of power. It doesn't feel underpowered. It's not always, big numbers are not always the best, I find, and of course having my little 250 has taught me that actually it's not all about huge engines and top speed. It's what's actually usable to you, and this bike has the power in the right places. It's on twisty roads like this. It's just superb. It feels like you're using the whole of the bike's capability, and you can really just enjoy it. So to summarise then, my overall summary of the 2015 Triumph Bonneville Scrambler, it's much better, much better than I thought. I hoped I was going to like it, but I really like it a lot more than I thought I was going to. The riding position's lovely, the instruments are simple, it's really quite smooth to ride, even though it's got that lumpy sounding engine that gives it the character. It just sounds glorious. I love the way the thing looks. It's comfy, it doesn't feel too heavy, there's no lack of power. It's a huge improvement over the standard Bonneville that I rode a couple of years ago. The only downsides that I can find are the suspension gets a little bit out of shape if you push it through the corners, to be expected this sort of bike I suppose. The lack of a fuel gauge is a problem. You're just going to have to run on the trip meter, but I just don't understand why motorcycle manufacturers don't fit those as standard. It seems to me to be an obvious thing to fit, so that's a nuisance. What else? Can't really think of anything else. So it's, yeah, the brakes. Oh yeah, the brakes. Did I mention that? The brakes aren't that great, but it might just be this is a fairly new bike and they're not bedded in. They're not bad, they're fit for purpose, they're just not incredible stoppers. But all the upsides absolutely beat those. The sound of the thing, the looks of the thing, just the ownership experience, buying into the whole Triumph thing, I love it. So overall, incredible, but I'm going to give this machine, on my Missenden Flyer scale of bike scores, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. I absolutely love it. So there we are. Hope that's been of some interest to you, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until next time, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.